Hi everybody, I'm Casey. Thanks for joining me today. If you've been following along, you've noticed that for the past 2 months I've been very quiet, and the reason for that is because we have a new baby in our house. My husband and I are foster parents, and we brought home a newborn baby at the end of August. So yeah, we took a break. Even though I have a 4-year-old, some things that you just forget about newborns. So the one thing that I wanted to start up with is, what equipment do you actually need when you have a baby? The only equipment that you absolutely need, you already have, and it won't cost you any money. The best place for your baby to be is You knew I was going to do that, didn't you? There is always new and improved things to buy, and it's all so cute and it looks so great, and there's all these claims about how it's super safe for your baby and it educates your baby, all of this stuff. If you're a new first-time parent and you go to make a registry, you can Google search like registry ideas, and you will be inundated with equipment and stuff and all of these things that they say you need. So in actuality, the only thing that you really need for your baby that's going to give them the best opportunity to learn, to move, and to grow is the floor. That's it. It doesn't cost you any money, and it is literally the best place for your baby to be. Hang with me. Like I said, I have a newborn at home. Does that mean I don't own any baby equipment? No. Stick around to the end of this video and I will show you literally the things that I have and use, but the thing that you need is the floor. If you don't have any other equipment, your baby is going to be just fine. Okay, maybe you're saying, Casey, you're being ridiculous, but stick with me here. So baby containers, that's the phrase I'm going to use. It refers to anything that you put your baby in. It could be a car seat, a stroller, a swing, a jumperoo, a mamaroo, an exerciser, a seat, anything that resembles a container that you put your baby in. I'm not talking about bassinets or cribs for sleep. We're talking about things you would use during the day. Baby containers were created with convenience in mind, not development. You may have heard about the whole rock and play thing. You can Google that on your own and you will see what went into developing this piece of equipment from marketers, people who did not have any education in child development. And look what happened. Some terrible things happened with the rock and play because they were not developed by people who knew what was going on with children's bodies. Now, baby containers are not the devil. I already told you I have them and I use them. But there are some serious consequences that you can see if your baby is in a baby container too much. There are times when baby containers are super helpful, like obviously when you're taking your baby somewhere. If you haven't showered in 3 days, you're gonna put your baby in something to keep them safe while you shower, while you make a bottle, while you do something that you need to have your hands free or you need to give your back a break. They are useful in moderation. Other than if you're in a car, if you're driving, it's going to take you however long it takes you to get there. But I'm talking about swings and things throughout the day. Your time in containers should be limited to 10 minutes or less at a time. And they really should be a last resort, not a go-to. Honestly, there is something called baby container syndrome now. It's a real thing. Babies are hitting milestones later and later, and when you have conversations with parents, you realize that much of their time they are spending on their back in containers. Parents may be very, very well-meaning, thinking this is the best, safest option for their child, and not realizing that keeping a baby in a container for extended periods of time during the day can negatively impact how soon they will meet their milestones. Not that they never will, but it can delay it. And there can be very serious motor delays and muscular changes in babies that spend like literally all day in that curved up little position that they're in when you plop them in a seat, in a car seat, in a seat. I said that already, a swing. If they're in that position all the time and for too long, guess what? When you take them out of that swing, out of that seat, their muscles and bones are going to be used to that position, and you're going to have big problems. Some of the things that you might see when a baby is in a container for too long is a flat head, which is called plagiocephaly. It can cause some torticollis. When babies get that flat head, they kind of tend to keep their head to the same side, which elongates one side and shortens the one side of the neck. So that's called torticollis. You can see some decreased strength and coordination, decreased movement. There is even some evidence that says it can lead to speech, hearing, cognitive deficits, and even ADHD. Now, I know you're saying, Casey, that is crazy. You are blowing things out of proportion. Unfortunately, I'm not. A baby's number one job is to move and work and play. So sorry, these companies are more concerned about money than your baby's development. There will always be new things and new gimmicks that are very enticing, seem like they're top of the line and great, but in reality, the more time in containers, the less opportunity to move. If you've ever heard of baby container syndrome, let me know in the comments. And while you're there, hit subscribe and the little bell, and it will tell you when new videos are posted. A baby's first job in life is to learn how to move and to extend against gravity. So they have to figure out how to go from that, newborns have to go from that flexion position, the fetal position that they really like, and move in the opposite direction. All other movement comes from the ability to go from flexion to extension. Then they can go side to side. Then they can do some rotation. But if you don't have that extension first, then you're not going to get anywhere else. These baby containers keep newborns in this really nice, comfy, flexed position. Babies like that. So then when you take the baby out and put them on their belly, yeah, maybe they're going to be unhappy about that because they have to actually work and get up into extension. But that does not mean that if your baby cries when you take them out of the container, that the container is good and the floor is bad. Even after babies are sitting up, baby containers then start to add in other things to keep babies entertained that are actually not appropriate for their little bodies. Let's think about jumperoos and exercisers in particular that let your baby bounce up and down. Jumping on your feet puts a lot of pressure and force through your knees and your hips. Being able to jump is like a 2-year-old skill. Like 23, 24 months is when babies start to learn how to jump. If we're putting our 7, 8, 9, 10, even up to 18-month-old baby in one of these things that puts that excessive force through their knees and their hips over and over and over, their hips aren't ready for that yet. You have wobbly, flexy hips because they're babies, and that excessive force can put too much force and cause some trouble with their hips down the road. Also, when you see babies in these things, they oftentimes jump on their tippy toes because they're contracting their feet muscles, their calf muscles, their leg muscles. They're trying to keep themselves stable by contracting everything they have. Do you jump on your tippy toes? No. So thinking about it, reframing, again, this is not a judgment kind of thing, like you're bad if you have a jumperoo or an exerciser that lets your baby bounce up and down. No. What this is for is to help you educate yourself and maybe pass it along to a friend. Not judgy, information. So let's take a look at the movement that this baby can get when he is in a seat compared to the movement he can get when he is on the floor. This baby is about 2.5 months. Yes, he's giant. I'm not going to show his face to protect his privacy, but just notice the difference between his movement. So why is baby container syndrome a thing? Here's where experts think it started. So in the 90s, this is kind of a history lesson here. In the 90s, we had the Back to Sleep campaign, which was very successful in reducing, it did reduce the number of deaths caused by SIDS, which is great. It was successful. However, one unintended consequence of that Back to Sleep campaign was that parents kept that in their mind, that back is best, throughout the whole day. They were afraid to put their babies on their belly at all because they were afraid of SIDS. Can you blame them? No. If this information is being shoved down your throat at every doctor's appointment, it is still, but at that point it was like a huge campaign for all parents. Back to sleep, back is best, back is best. So yeah, it's natural to kind of compare belly is bad, back is best. It makes sense. Now we know better because we have seen these unintended consequences play out over the last few decades. In this time is when all of these equipment things came about. This was when they were developed and started being marketed because there was a need. Parents wanted something to keep their baby on their back. It's supply and demand, as simple as that. You ask your parent, if you're my age or older, what kind of equipment they had. They might have had a swing, something that you like cranked that made the swing move, and probably a playpen, and that was about it. So now we do know better. Now we can make decisions and help our friends make decisions about what equipment we actually need, what is a nice thing to have when we need a break, because yeah, we do. And let's help these babies meet their milestones on time. If you'd like to watch my first year of life milestones video, it's right up here. All right, we get it. How do I keep my baby safe while I take a shower? Legit question. Limit the time that your baby has in a container to only when they are being transported somewhere, you're in the car, you want to take a walk, or less than 10 minutes at a time when you need to do something else. In your arms, in a carrier, in a swing is best if you're moving around. Even if you're in the kitchen and you're making dinner, set up a safe, boundaried place. Maybe it's a little play mat in the corner away from older sibling, or put a gate up so the dog doesn't come in, and that they can lay on the floor while you make dinner. So holding your baby or putting them on the floor is the best option. And think about all the money you will save. Listen, mom guilt is real. Dad guilt, is that a thing? I don't want to exclude any dads here. It is real. I am not here to tell you that if you put your baby in a container or you own these things that you were a bad parent. No, I've said it before, but I want to just keep putting that out there. This is information that maybe you didn't have before. Now you have it. Now you share it. That is the goal here. This information should be more widely shared and spread. However, the companies who sell these things want you to keep buying them. And they're going to market them as these safe and educational and needed items when in reality, they are not. So check out the description box for links to the Facebook page, my Instagram, and if you want some suggestions for tummy time, there's also a link to that video there. So thank you so much for joining me. Please share this information. Share it with people who are expecting, who might have babies years from now. Share it. Let's get this information out there so people know they don't need to spend all this money on stuff. I love to save money. So you tell me I don't need to buy anything new, we're going to be friends. So thanks. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. The last thing I forgot that I didn't show you. We have two equipment pieces that we currently use with our newborn. We have this little seat. We call it the lamb seat. We use that mostly for the first month or so when he came home, because he was too small for the swing. However, he is now a giant baby, so he doesn't really like the lamb seat anymore because he's like too long for it. So the other piece of equipment is the swing. We use the swing the most now. It's right next to our kitchen, so he does like to watch the lights. So yeah, We do use equipment. These are the two things that we own and use.